It's going to be a very Merry Christmas indeed in oil country after that Battle of Alberta. 5-1, the Edmonton Oilers defeat the Calgary Flames. And to break it all down, this is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Hello, everybody. Tom Gazzola, Shawn Belle, Ben Thomson with you inside the EST Satellite Studios. Bellsy also inside the EST Satellite Studios in the kitchen portion, if you will. Ben Thomson back at our EST Global HQ. Of course, GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Text us your thoughts on the game. We do want to hear from you. 780-218-9999. That is the text line number, or hop into the nasty chat if you're watching over on YouTube. Hope you're staying warm. Hope you're mixing in a water, and let's have some fun over the next hour or so. Reid Wilkins will stop by for Reid's Read in a little bit. But let's bring in Shawn Belle and Ben Thomson as, guys, really not a lot to complain about, to be honest with you. That was a pretty convincing win by the Edmonton Oilers. Maybe a few moments in that first period where it looked like Calgary was, in it.
Pushing, yeah.
Pushing, that's a better descriptor.
Yep.
But really, the Oilers just ran away with it, and it was all Connor McDavid fueling it alongside Leon Draisaitl. And then, oh, by the way, they had some supporting cast along for the ride. And I will tip my cap to Trent Frederick. He did get in a fight tonight. And there was a bunch of others that got involved. I thought Zach Hyman was good. I thought Ryan Nugent-Hopkins made some plays. I think Darnell Nurse was very much engaged in this game. And then Connor Ingram, really solid, but a strong defensive game structurally. Bellsy, what'd you see tonight?
Yeah, if you look at Connor Ingram, just calm, cool, collected in the net, doesn't make any unnecessary movements, which is nice to see. And when we were sitting up there and I looked at Reid, I'm like, man, this guy's just very composed. And it's something where when you look at it, and we've obviously had Skinner for the last couple of years, it just seems different, right? Skinner is an athletic goaltender and he tries to get all over the net. And sometimes when he's pushing off, it may be a little bit too much and he's out of the net. Outside of, maybe one particular situation, everything he just, minimal movement. Pucks there's not many rebounds. They were all right there. He covered them up. He just played a really solid game. And if you're the Oilers and you look at that, you sit back and you say, okay, well, this is good because we have a goaltender that's not letting that 1 weak goal in that, kind of destroys the team and where they're going. So I think it gives them confidence and they can kind of push ahead and, they continue to rack up goals, which is nice.
Ben Thomson.
That was a bleep kicking. I'm flat out honest.
Language.
Beep, 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 beep. That was just a flat out just domination to me. That there was that small blip. Yeah, like Tom said in the first period where Calgary looked like they had a little bit of a momentum or just a little bit of a push, and that was quickly extinguished, and that was done. It was the Oilers from pretty much the entire from puck drop till the end of the game. That's as close to a full 60 you'll ever get from a team. Top guys playing we'll get into it, but I've watched the Oilers pretty much my entire life, and I've seen Connor come in and play and have some ridiculous stretches. I'm pretty damn close saying this is the best stretch I've ever seen Connor McDavid play.
It might be.
It is flat out ridiculous. He does not deserve to be in this league. He does whatever he wants, whenever he wants on the ice right now. And it's been that way for about 10 games. So, yeah, I'm just, again, a very solid win against a team that seemed like they were trending upwards.
For sure, yes.
And what everything that happened tonight, all it does is make Saturday's game a little bit more exciting and a little bit more fun after they stuff their faces with turkey for Christmas and all this stuff, all the festivities. They're going to show up on Saturday. I think there's going to be some real hate between the two teams. It was a very entertaining game to watch.
Connor McDavid, a modest 5 assists, +1, 20-37 time on ice. By the way, Leon Draisaitl, the hat trick. He gets off the schneid after going goalless since December 4th. He gets that 3-goal performance in 1849. And then let's see, multi-point game. Zach Hyman, who I said earlier was buzzing around. He had a goal and 2 assists. On the defensive side of things, the Oilers pick up a couple assists from Evan Bouchard. And, they spread out the minutes pretty evenly. Alec Regula played the least amount on the back end at 15:37, but Bouchard 23:38. Then you had Stasny at 20:07, Nurse at 19:12, Emberson at 19:08, Matthias Ekholm at 17:17, and then the aforementioned Regula. Shots tonight, 39-19 in favor of the Oilers. Power play goes 3 for 5, just absolutely on fire right now. And I think it was Ryan from Sask, or maybe it was someone else on the pregame show who texted in and said, hey, the penalty kill needs to have a night. Well, tonight it goes 4 for 4. So ask and ye shall receive. That's a good thing because it had been leaking some goals and slipping down the standings. Today it came in, I think it was 23rd overall starting action today around the National Hockey League. I have that stat on my game prep here. The Oilers PK had fallen to 23rd at 77.6%. That's definitely going to go up after a 4 for 4 night. Connor Ingram, guys, I know, Benny, you talked about him a little bit. Didn't have to do a ton, was active more so in that first period. Had that one sequence there. People were wondering why the ref took his stick and threw it away. Sounds like it was broken. And that's why. So you can't use a broken stick. People that were watching said it snapped when he was coming across on that diving save attempt. So outside of that, guys, just a really, really good night against the Calgary Flames. Dare I say it, first 3-game winning streak could be as soon as Saturday. And it's taken, 37, 38 games for it to happen. Can we say?
You better knock on wood right now.
I am. This very well built desk by my grandpa. We talked about
this earlier. We talked about on Hello Hockey that this is a possibility.
Yes, we did.
And whether, they're winning 2 games, losing 1, whether they can get into that 3-game winning streak right now, you're seeing the opportunity sitting right in front of you. And yeah, you're going to have a little break, a 3-game break or 3-day break. And then you're back at it against a team once again who, yes, you just beat tonight, but they are going to be ready. They do not want to get beat twice by the Edmonton Oilers in a game where it was fairly lopsided. So, hey, get your rest as much as you need, but you need that same effort because the effort that you showed today was pretty good, and it just shows a different class, much like we talked about with the Wild.
Yep.
It shows a different class of hockey team. The Wild were at a different class when they beat the Oilers. The Oilers are at a different class when they just handled the Calgary Flames.
All right, so with that win tonight, the Oilers move into a tie temporarily with the Anaheim Ducks at 44 points in the Pacific Division. So that's first overall in the Pacific. Vegas currently leading San Jose 6-1 going into the third, or the third has just begun. And the Golden Knights could, with the win tonight, tie both Edmonton and Anaheim. Vegas would also leapfrog those teams because they're playing the 35th game. Edmonton has played 38 games. Anaheim has played 37 games. But the Oilers and Golden Knights are cranking it up a little bit here. Vegas looking to snap a 2-game losing streak. But a good sign for the Oilers, right back in the mix at the top of the Pacific Division. At least, incremental steps, and we'll see if they get that elusive 3-game winning streak. I do have some stats to throw out for everybody from our good friend Brian Swain, stats man extraordinaire. Buckle up, baby. Here we go. There's a few here. All right, so Connor McDavid's 67 points are the most for an NHL player before Christmas since Mario Lemieux, who had 76, and Jaromir Jagr had 68 in 95-96. And the most for an Oiler player before Christmas since Wayne Gretzky had 80 in 87-88. McDavid is the first player in the NHL with at least 12 goals and 19 assists in a span of 11 games since Lemieux in 96-97. That was before Lemieux's first retirement. And then the last time an Oilers player did it was Gretzky in 1985-86. One more for you here. Only the third time the Oilers have scored at least 5 goals in a game with a player assisting on every goal. Paul Coffey did it in a 7-5 loss to Winnipeg on December 22nd, 1985. And Gretzky did it in a 5-2 win against Quebec on October 15th, 1986. Those coming at you courtesy of our good friend, Brian Swain. Thank you very much, Swainer. Some amazing stats there. Some elusive and exclusive company and history from Connor McDavid as the Oilers win it 5-1 over the Calgary Flames. Benny Thomson, Shawn Belle, any text you want to get to before we continue on here?
I mean, there's a lot of chat around this game right now. I want to touch on Trent Frederick a little bit. I can commend, like, I really have a lot of respect for Trent Frederick and the fight that he had with Kevin Ball. I thought it'd be Lomberg, but it made more sense for Kevin Ball after the hit that he laid on Zach Hyman. I think it was early in the second period. Calgary, man, they did some pretty rat-like things. Ball was one of them. Rasmus Anderson sticking out his knee. I mean, he, like,
oh, what a surprise!
Him complaining about that penalty, like, come on. Like, that's a knee on knee. Like that's the definition of one. Yeah.
Are we shocked by anything that he does at this point?
I'll
Absolutely
be honest with you. I like it when these two teams have rat-like play on both sides.
Yep.
It just brings out the best in both teams.
Yeah.
It should make Saturday even that much better because I think there's going to be some answers. I think it'll drag right into the Saddle Dome on Saturday. Like, this is I was very happy for the entertainment, not just because the Oilers won and all that, but it was more just the animosity in the arena today. Thank you. It was a very entertaining game to watch.
To add to your Trent Frederick talk, I just think that, you know, he's had a very rough start to the season.
Yeah.
He got put into situations where he was kind of set up to fail, but he's taking incremental steps and correcting his game. He sat out the last one. He comes back in today. He's got a little bit more life. He hits a few guys. He gets into a fight. Like, this is the Frederick that you saw in Boston, the guy that was sticking up for teammates. He made it hard for opposing teams. Now, do we wish and hope that, hey, there was a little bit more? Sure we do, because we're Edmonton Oilers fans and media. Of course we do. But at the end of the day, we got to see these baby steps starting to take place and starting to see his game come back, because if his game truly does come back and you see the guy that, hey, maybe he's not a 40-point guy, but he's a 25 to 30-point guy, but he adds in the fights, he stirs it up, he protects his teammates, he adds some hits. I think that's a valuable player, and especially one that's going to be in your middle six to bottom six. And so for me personally, I hope that you start to see his game round back into form, and maybe that, break was a much needed thing for him to kind of get back in the right direction.
Let's go to the inbox now, 780-218-9999. Have your say. We want to hear what you thought about the Oilers' 5-1 victory over the Calgary Flames tonight in the second installment of the Battle of Alberta this season. They'll go toe-to-toe on Saturday at the Saddle Dome, and then later in the year, I think it's in April, off the top of my head. Yeah, it is in April. It's going to be, February 4th. They'll close out the season series. Let's go to Big Dave. Big Dave texts in and says, lots to like about this win tonight. Ingram looked good for his first Battle of Alberta appearance. Penalty kill was good tonight. It seemed like almost everyone was involved, including number 10. If I was going to complain about one thing from this game, is that all the offense is still only coming from the top guys. Would be nice to get some more from the bottom six. Happy holidays, boys. Big Dave. Okay, and that's a fair point. I mean, McDavid was an absolute beast tonight. We talked about that. Draisaitl got off the schneid goal-wise. Nugent Hopkins got the party started. I actually thought there were a few little moments here and there where the other lines kind of did some stuff. I mean, there was that one sequence where Dustin Wolf made a bunch of ridiculous saves tonight, by the way. The Oilers had some grade A opportunities, and he stood tall on a lot of them. But he made that one big save on like a Hyman one-timer, and then I think Henrique, there was a change and Henrique got in there.
There was one from Hyman on the backhand with Max Jones doing some good work along the boards. Pops it out to Hyman in front of the net. Hyman goes forehand, backhand, but Wolf just gets out the last little kick to stop that from going in the net. So, I mean, Max Jones with a really heads-up play. So you're starting to see a little bit more from the bottom six, and they're contributing. And hey, like Connor McDavid is the best player in the world. He puts up 5 points. I understand that we want a little bit more secondary scoring, but if Connor's doing what Connor does, it's tough to really truly ask for that secondary scoring when he's feeling it the way that he is. And Draisaitl has a hat trick. So you got to kind of, once again, I've mentioned this before, it's a double-edged sword with the Oilers. You've got the best players in the world, and you got those guys that are going to show out and they're going to ball out every single night. But at the exact same time, you've got the situation where they want to play. You might not get a 40-point Frederick. You might not get a guy that's going to, contribute 10 goals in the bottom six. You might get that same player on a different team, comes to the Oilers, he puts up 5 goals. It's just because the big boys want to play a ton, and rightfully so, because they're the best players in the world. And when they're feeling it, like, good luck stopping them. So, yes, I understand that want and need for that secondary scoring, but at the same time, you just laid an absolute beating on the Calgary Flames, and your big boys led the way. And this is something that we talked about way back in the start of the season, where you're saying, hey, the big boys need to lead this hockey team. Well, they led this hockey team today. And so good on them. They put up tons of points, and they helped win the game.
Hey, you mentioned Max Jones in that play that set up a good chance for Zach Hyman. If you're Max Jones and you see Trent Frederick sit for one game, and you continue to do the things that Trent Frederick is supposed to do on a nightly basis, I kind of like the way he responded or continued to play that way and didn't seem deterred because he couldn't. Well, he did continue on with his play, but he didn't seem like he was put off by it and is just waiting for the inevitable send back down. I kind of appreciate that.
Yeah, it's there's internal competition for spots, and guys aren't happy with where their current spot is. So you get a guy like Max Jones who, hey, you see Frederick, he gets sat. Well, hey, guess what? I know what my role needs to be. And that's what the Oilers are looking for, in particular on that fourth line, where they need some valuable minutes out of guys. So, yeah, if you're Max Jones, you look at that and you see one of your fellow players get sat and he's a healthy scratch. Well, okay, what did he do wrong? How can I improve that? How can I make my case to make sure that I stay in the lineup every single night? So, yeah, he's done a good job of responding. And this is kind of that thing where, hey, there's a little bit of accountability. Guys are sitting out because you're not playing as well. Now there's going to be that push where, okay, I want to stay in the lineup. I got to beat my teammate out, and there's nothing wrong with it. Yes, hockey is 100% a team sport, but there's a little bit of I in there because you're trying to keep your spot and you don't want somebody else to take that.
All right, let's dive into the inbox here. Nolan from St. Albert texting in says, I enjoyed the game with my father tonight. Those 6 o'clocker loggers were tasting real good tonight. I don't think I was seeing double, but I like what I'm seeing from Ingram. And then Ho Daddy texted in, Ho Daddy, good to hear from you. Says, Uyghur getting tossed for tapping his stick is top tier Jurgen softness from the refs. Let the boys play, Ho Daddy. Yeah, I said to Reid and Belzy, I was like, that was kind of... I would be pissed off if I was Uyghur too. And then the refs, of course, have their feelings hurt and they complain and then they kick the guy out after giving him a 2 and just, typical baby refs. Thank you, Ho Daddy, for that text. C-Mac texting in says, a very happy Festivus win for the Oilers. I feel not all grievances were aired tonight. We will see some more of them on Saturday. Solid win. Let's go. Merry Christmas. And then Jill declaring and saying, alert, we are so back, in all caps. Jill, I might be ready to concede that the way they're playing lately. Yeah. 8-2-1 in their last 11. Pretty good. Pretty good. Troll texts in saying, I think McDavid was tired of people starting to ask if McKinnon is the better player. Now there's no doubt anymore. The highlight of Anderson's career is still when Nurse speed bagged him in Penticton. Oh boy. Yeah, we went all the way back to that one, didn't we? All right. 780-218-9999. Hop into the nasty chat as well. I'm just taking a look around the league to see what else happened here tonight that might affect the standings in the Pacific. What else do we have here? Utah, not that matters. 1-0 lost to Colorado. You had some early games. I know people are talking about the Pittsburgh game. We're not going to go there for many reasons. Not a lot of action in the Pacific.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just going to leave that one.
Yeah.
San Jose trails 7-1 to Vegas, and Seattle continues to lead LA 3-1, 15 minutes left in the third. That would be a bad loss for the Kings, considering where Seattle has fallen. Although Seattle's won its last two, 14-14 and 6 are the Kraken. Already starting to see some movement as they moved out Mason Marchment the other day. All right. Defensively, Belsy, you and I were talking about this group. Pretty good night tonight. The Flames had a few chances, nothing crazy. It seems like this group is defending well. And you asked me, like, what do you think will be needed come deadline? And I said, I still think you're going to need a blue liner. However, in the meantime, that's not to say these guys can't grow and progress, especially the young guys, and maybe some of the older guys continue to find their game. I didn't notice a ton of mistakes. You know, we talked about turnovers at the opposition blue line, maybe a couple of times today, but nothing too crazy.
One of the things that I liked the most from what I saw was them using the middle for breakouts. So, you know, a lot of teams are, you know, a 1-2-2, maybe it's a hybrid where if you go, you know, east-west and it's a weak side play, that second forward or the F2 drops down and he tries to, you know, pinch off or read the play. They did a great job of utilizing the middle ice, and the centerman was actually in a really good position where there was a few times where they could just blindly throw that puck to middle of the ice and they were breaking out. That's something that has changed, because we talked about this once again before, where they were rimming pucks a lot. And every time they touched the puck, it was a rim, it was a rim, it was a rim. And all teams did was pre-pinch and keep it in. And so now they've kind of adjusted where guys are in better spots. They can make those quick reads. They can absorb the rush. They can pop it to the centerman, and then they can break out. It's a nice subtle change where now they've got more of a controlled, you know, D-zone exit, as opposed to, okay, well, I've got to pick up this rim under duress, and then now I've got to try to move it when I'm moving to guys that are going with speed. And it allows for, you know, a situation if there's a turnover that guys are already in the right position as opposed to blowing the zone, which gives them a little bit more of a defensive look. So subtle change, liked it. And I prefer, and this is just my opinion and my, you know, observation, but I prefer more controlled breakouts or, you know, possession breakouts than rimming pucks, because that's just not how I played, and I appreciate it a lot more.
Benny?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to follow up what an NHL defenseman has to say about the Oilers' defense, but
tell him he's wrong.
Yeah, Belsy. Yeah, what a horrible take. This Oilers' defense is horrible tonight. I mean, it was. They did a pretty good job. I mean, to me, I saw a lot of block shots, good sticks and lanes. That Calgary Flames power play is one of the worst in the NHL, and they showed why tonight. But the Oilers PK, I also thought, did a pretty good job of just limiting chances for Calgary, not giving up too many grade A's. To me, they played so solid in front of Ingram. It was hard to be like, oh, Ingram played so well tonight. He made a couple big saves, but to me, he didn't have to play out of his mind. Like it wasn't like Dustin Wolf where he got absolutely like laid out, and the Flames were lucky that it was 5-1. It could have been 8 or 9. Like it was like Dustin Wolf saved a couple goals there. So yeah, I mean, I thought the defense was pretty solid. I think it was hand in hand with the goaltending a little bit, but guys, who do you start Saturday?
I think you go back to Ingram.
Yeah.
When you're in.
Based on the way he's played, he's been solid.
Yeah.
He's been composed. You might want to go back. If you truly want to get a read on what you have, then you got to go back to him. You know what Pickard can do. You know what he's capable of.
Yep.
Right now, the wild card in this whole mix is Ingram. And if you're trying to improve your goaltending, well, you know that Jari's going to come back at some point. Find out who's a better option between Pickard and Ingram. And once you have that answer, when Jari gets back, do what you need to do. As much as I love picks, if Ingram's the answer, then you got to go with Ingram. You have to find ways, if you're the GM and the assistant GM, to improve the hockey team.
I'm with you.
Pure and simple.
Yeah. Like we were saying on pregame, you know what you have in Pickard. You know what you do. You don't fully know what you have in Ingram yet. And if it's performances like tonight, where once again he didn't have to play outstanding, but he made the saves he needed to make.
Yes.
And he played had a very solid night. You let that ride out. Sports about the hot hand, and I don't know if he's necessarily got a hot hand right now, but he's played himself. He's played a good enough game to get another start. I think on Saturday. So yeah, I'm with you guys. I think he starts Saturday.
All right, I'm going to dip into a few texts here. This one comes in from Shawn McDavid, son of Craig. Says, Dustin Wolf for Hart. Tell everybody that. Comments will go insane.
Well,
thank you, Sean. He might be stopping by in a bit, Ballsy, so let him in.
Sounds great.
Yeah. And then my Auntie Rhonda says, she says, I like the vest. Thank you, Auntie Rhonda. Good to hear from you. Hopefully catch you tomorrow. And then let's go to the inbox. Colorado Rusty texting in says, how about those Oilers looking good? I think the new goalies are providing a bit more predictability to the game. They move well, and if they can get Jari healthy, a Jari-Ingram tandem could be exciting to see. And then Colorado Rusty adds, I don't care about Frederick points, just want grit and killer instinct. Tonight is a start. Interesting note there about Jari-Ingram tandem. Like, people, and I'm not just putting it on Colorado Rusty, because I've seen some of this among the fan base. They're already disregarding Calvin Pickard. And I personally am hesitant to do that. I feel like Calvin Pickard deserves a couple more games. I think that he deserves to make his mark. I think he's capable of it. But there seems to be a bit of a sentiment, you guys, from some, not all, but some. And it's not just Colorado Rusty. So Colorado Rusty, don't feel like I'm pointing you out, but you brought up that thought, that are just automatically saying it's Ingram and he's ahead of Pickard. Now, I do feel like the potential for Ingram's ceiling to be higher than Pickard is certainly there, and I will acknowledge that. But I'm surprised that people are giving it to Ingram right away like that.
Well, one guy was a former All-Star and the other one wasn't. So
yes,
hey, once again, I love Picks. He's my boy. But hey, one guy was a former All-Star, and if he can find that same game, well, you have a higher ceiling. Yeah. But you still have to allow Picks to compete for the spot, because he's been here for the last 2 years and he's given everything that he's possibly had. He has earned the opportunity to compete for the spot. You can't just give it up and say, "Oh, okay, well, Ingram, you've had 2 good games. This is yours."
Yeah, I do wonder a little bit about if, like, so Connor Ingram isn't waiver exempt, correct? Because I'm wondering, like, if Connor Ingram continues to play solid, like what like, is there going to be a team that takes a chance on him if you decide to go with Calvin Pickard again as your backup when Jari's healthy? There could be a situation here if Ingram's contract is if he isn't waiver exempt. You might be in a situation you might lose one of these guys.
He is not.
He's not waiver exempt. So, like, do you think if he continues to play this way, like, there might be a team that takes a chance on him? So then you could be looking at, okay, what goalie do you see better long term? Could be into the question as well. I just want to highlight that, because the Oilers might lose one of these guys if Ingram continues to play well.
Well, Benny, the reality is that before they made that trade, they didn't have any goaltender on contract and moving into the offseason.
Yeah.
So, yes, you can be worried about losing Ingram on waivers if things go a certain way. But at the same time, hey, once again, Pickard has helped big time here in Edmonton. He found his game. I guess he refound his game. He's helped, in important stretches. Case in point, the Vancouver series a couple of years ago. So he still has the ability to raise his level, and Pickard's a battler. So, hey, if you were in a hypothetical situation, if you were to lose Ingram, I think you can still be comfortable on the back end because he's still a pretty good goaltender, and he's a guy that you already know what you have.
100%. Yep.
Just a quick note on rosters and stuff like that. We know we're under the holiday freeze. I'm just going to put this out there. Keep an eye on David Tomaszek, okay? Just keep an eye on it. See if there's anything coming up. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. Interesting.
Belzy, you want to add anything to that?
No, I don't.
Okay, good. Just keep an eye on it. 780-218-9999. Jump into the nasty chat as well. The Oilers win 5-1 over the Calgary Flames, and we'll have another Battle of Alberta on Saturday at the Saddle Dome. We want to hear from you. BP Tony says, Saturday is going to be epic. I see a goalie fight throwback to Smith and Talbot Battle of Alberta. BP Tony, we will be live on location at Boston Pizza 170th. Let's go to Conroe, Texas, who says, love the Battle of Alberta. Connor Ingram makes all the easy saves, something we have not seen in a while. Bottom six has been better, but this group is not it for offense. Howard and Hudson need to be given a shot, and if get a cushion in the standings, we may see them, hopefully. Merry Christmas, boys. Love listening to you. Thank you, Conroe, Texas. What do you think of that? Howard and Hudson, they've been very productive in the AHL, Belzy. Howard, a little bit of success at the AHL level, and Hudson in very limited playing time, scored his first goal, looked pretty comfortable. What would you say about those two getting another look? Do they need to put them back in there, or do you just wait on those guys?
I don't know if you need to put them back in there, but you want to make sure that those guys are developed, they're comfortable, so that when they do get back in the lineup, like they're giving what they're giving at the AHL level. You don't want them to have to second guess. You don't want them to have to think about too many things. It's kind of that Savoy situation where Savoy spent the entire year in the minors, and he played in every situation. He developed his defensive game, which is something that Keith Gretzky talked about on our show, Hello Hockey.
Good show.
He was like, hey, he did a great job of going down to the minors, learning a lot of different things, becoming a PK specialist, becoming a guy that's defensively responsible. And then when he does get to the big club, now he's dependable. I would say the exact same thing for both of these players is that, hey, I think everybody likes your offensive upside, but the reality of the situation is that you're probably not beating Nuge out of his spot.
Right.
You're probably not beating Hyman out of his spot. Mm-hmm. Draisaitl loves Podkolzin. And right now you have Roslovic. So your top six is more or less set. Mm-hmm. How can you now contribute if you want to be part of the Edmonton Oilers? Well, that has to be on the third and fourth line. So make sure you're defensively responsible, because that's one thing that third and fourth lines need to do. Can I shut down opposing teams' first lines, their top guys? How does that look? While being able to also contribute on the offensive end. So that is something that those guys need to figure out. And I wouldn't rush those guys into a situation where they need to be back in the NHL just because they're tearing it up in the minors.
Yeah.
It is good to see, though. Go ahead, Ben. Sorry.
100%. And it's like what you're saying. It's why Savoy is so trusted, because he's good in his own end. He doesn't it's not just a one man. It's not just an offense guy. Like, he can play in his own end, and he's out there with Henrique on the PK. So he's trusted, and like you were saying with Howard and Hudson, round out your game a little bit, and then it would make more sense to call him up, but. With Howard's dominance in the AHL, I would be shocked if they don't give him at least a look in the NHL one more time before the deadline. To me, if you can give him a 2-week period playing third line minutes and see if that AHL, dominance will transfer now on the second go in the NHL, then maybe you found a little bit of help to your depth scoring. I'd imagine that's probably something you want to do before the deadline, before, obviously you go into it going, okay, maybe we need a third line center or a winger to help out the depth scoring. So if I'm them, I probably take a look at Hightower for a couple weeks with the big club before the trade deadline so they can assess properly.
All right, have your say, 780-218-9999. Here's what we're going to do, guys. The plan of attack is we're going to go to Leon Draisaitl, who had a hat trick tonight. 5-point night for Connor McDavid, by the way. 3-point night for Zach Hyman. We're going to hear from Draisaitl. We're going to get Belzy's final thoughts going into Saturday's game, and then we'll get to Reed's read the turning point as well as the player of the game. So here he is, the man with the hat trick, Leon Draisaitl.
Front to back, special teams, goaltending, everything. Where does that game rank in the ones you've played this season?
Yeah, certainly up there, but I think it's been trending that way over the last couple of months, I guess a couple of weeks. So we've been playing some good hockey, some consistent good hockey, and everyone's contributing, everyone's chipping in, everyone's doing their part, and when we get to that point, we're a tough team to handle.
What was the catalyst behind that? Was it sort of a physical thing where you guys got a little bit of rest, or was it the urgency, like we got to get her going?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. Just the urgency. We demand to be a playoff team, and when you start the season the way we did, nobody's happy, nobody likes it. We know we got better, we know we can be better, and we have a lot better in here. So everyone just stepped up, everyone started playing better, and now we're rolling a little better, and obviously looking to continue that.
Is there a jet stream behind McDavid when he's playing this well that just drags everybody up?
Well, I mean, it tilts the game, right? Tilts the ice. He's obviously feeling it. We've also seen it plenty of times in his career. I think, puck's falling right now, and he's too good right now. So that's not fun to play against.
You got a goaltender who's had a rocky road lately. He talked a little bit after the last game, just to see him step in, replace a guy with injury, called up short notice.
Yeah, those stories are special, man. Like, obviously he's a special human being, and looking forward to getting to know him a little bit more. And he seems to be a quiet guy, but nothing we can't pull out of him. So excited to have him around, and obviously he's been amazing for us.
2 points a game for you in the last 7 games, but no goals. Are you ever happy if you're not scoring goals?
I mean, I'm happy because I'm creating other looks for guys that I'm on the ice with. So as long as that part of the game is there, I'm happy, of course. I was never really in a panic mode because I didn't score in 6-7 games, whatever it was. But I felt like I had looks. I felt like the other parts of my games were there and they were good. So I think it's just a matter of time for it to bounce in.
Something about these jerseys. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, I love them. I love the look of them. Obviously, our record and our stats are pretty good in them right now. So yeah, hopefully we can keep that up.
It was actually 8 games, Leon. I'm kidding. It's all good. He comes back with a vengeance. 3-goal night for Draisaitl. First goal since December 4th. And another big night for those jerseys, you guys. You think they're winning people over now?
Should be.
What are you sighing for? What is wrong with you?
It has nothing to do with the jersey. Get out of here.
Ah, come on.
You're right. Sorry.
That's 27 goals in 4 games.
They put the jersey on, and they're like, "Oh God, I feel so good in this.
Look good, feel good, play good,
today, and I'm going to start scoring." You're right.
Look good, feel good, play good, Bells.
Yeah, it's like when you put on your new tuxedo jacket today from the boys from Modern.
You feel good.
Man, that tuxedo jacket's sexy.
Buddy, you were glowing. You were the belle of the ball. You see what I did there?
I take everything I said back. You're right. 100%.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, Belzy, take a peek ahead to Saturday's game. Calgary's going to be a bit ornery for that one.
Yeah, they're going to be fired up because they don't want to lose 2 in a row to the Oil. I expect a hard checking, in your face game. That's the way Calgary plays, and that's the way Calgary feels like they have a chance against the Oilers. But the Oilers need to make sure that they do a lot of the things that they did today. You can't turn over the puck. You got to make sure that you're playing defensively sound, breaking pucks out clean, and then go to work on the offensive side, because when you are rolling and you're feeling your game, well, they're not in the same stratosphere as the Calgary Flames. So don't play down to your competition and stay out of kind of the meaningless nonsense, and you'll have yourself a 3-game winning streak.
Hey, first time all year. Took 38 damn games if they make it happen on Saturday. Bellsy, great work as always, my friend. Beer's in the fridge. You know where to get it. You've earned it, my friend.
I appreciate that.
All right, there you go.
Peace.
There's our game analyst, Shawn Belle, helping us break down Edmonton's 5-1 victory over the Calgary Flames in the second edition of the Battle of Alberta this season. And now he gets to go have fun. The boys from Modern are here, some other friends. All of a sudden, people are just showing up at my place, Benny, and I'm stuck in the satellite studio.
Party at Tom.
Busting my ass off because I love what I do.
Yep.
And when you love what you do, it's not real work.
Exactly. That's why we're in the business.
You like that answer? That's
Yes.
a good one.
Yep.
I pat myself on the back. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. All right, let's get to the turning point of the game. As always, brought to you by our good friends over at Advantage Sports Medicine and Physiotherapy. At Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy, Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You've got a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Med. Book your assessment today at www.advantagesportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. Listen, there were a lot of great moments in this game for the Oilers, and I can appreciate that. I'm going to pick this one out because to me, I like killer instinct. I like when the game is solidly in hand. Mm-hmm. I know we've seen the Oilers kind of blow some leads, especially recently, or it got close, especially on Sunday. But to me, this is when you knew, like, this one is over for the Flames. So McDavid breaks up a one-timer attempt. He goes in 2-on-1 with Hyman. Hyman with a nifty little redirection. He buries it to make it 4-1. To me, that sealed the deal for the Oil. That comes at 11:56 of the second period. Great play defensively by McDavid. Nice to see that. And then he goes back the other way, 2-on-1. And Hyman just smartly goes to the net, redirects it past Dustin Wolf. 4-1 at that point on Hyman's 10th goal of the season. Very good to see. And then the Oilers would get another goal from Leon Draisaitl, a power play marker at 5:38 of the third period. The Hats would rain down. But to me, it was that Hyman goal set up by McDavid. Great play by Connor McDavid to create the 2-on-1 and then goes in and passes it off to Hyman. So that is your Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy turning point of the game. All right, we're going to go to Connor McDavid. We're going to hear from him, and then on the other side, we're going to get to Reed's Read, brought to you by Reid Wilkins, standing by. Let's hear from the captain after a big 5-point night.
Where do you rate that one in terms of the games you guys played this season?
I thought it was as good as it's been. Really solid all over. Special teams were great. 5-on-5 generated and didn't give up much. Goalie played well. A lot of things to like.
When Leon's getting tons of points, as he has been, but it's not going in for him, do you feel like there's, is he a guy that's hungry to score? Is he happy if it's not a goal?
It's a good question for him. I know he wants to play good hockey. That's all that he really cares about, and he's been doing that. He's been playing good hockey, and goals will come for him. It's inevitable. He gets so many good looks and such a good player.
Where are you getting your energy from? Your jump has been superior for several weeks now, a couple weeks for sure, and a schedule that's just killer. Where's it coming?
I like this schedule. The schedule suits me. I like just getting into a groove and sticking with it, getting into a good routine. The games feel comfortable that way. I like the schedule, honestly. As I said, it suits me.
Connor, what's it like having Connor Ingram here? Just when he's put
It's been great. He's been solid. I've liked our game in front of him too, but he's been solid. He's done the job that's been asked of him, and just been a rock back there.
Something about these jerseys. What are your thoughts on them?
Yeah, they've brought us a little bit of good luck. Yeah.
I don't
know. Sorry.
The turnaround in this club has been dramatic. Like, what do you think's at the core of that?
Well, I think guys are just playing better. Ultimately, when when teams are struggling, everyone looks around for answers and points to one thing or the other, but ultimately it just comes down to individual play from everybody. And I thought collectively as a group, our game has just gotten better and better as the season's gone on, especially over the last couple of weeks, the last month. I think that's the biggest thing.
How big is it having both Zach Hyman and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins in the lineup? Just having your top six.
I mean, that's a big part of it too, right? I mean, you ask what the biggest difference is. I mean, we're healthier. We're still missing a couple of guys, but we're healthier. Heisy's in there and playing well, and Nuge is in there and doing his thing. We get Rosie back, and guys are feeling good, healthy. A lot to like heading into the break.
How do you see the hit on
the Anderson one? Listen, I let the refs call the game. I thought they did a good job calling a penalty. Yeah.
You guys have a share of first place in the Pacific. You got all the Eastern trips out of the way. You got, I think, 12 games in January at home. This is a good opportunity to really make a good run.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, a great opportunity for our group here. Home for most of January. As you said, we don't go east again. We've gotten a lot of tough trips out of the way. We're healthy. We're only getting healthier. A little bit of time during this break, and I like where our group can go. This is a big month for us coming up. We got to take advantage of this schedule at home here and make a good push.
15 games in the month of January, 11 of them at home, and we'll see if the Oilers can take advantage, continue to play well on home ice so far this season. With that win tonight, the Oilers improved to 10-3-3 at Rogers Place. Guys playing better individually, guys getting healthy. That has contributed to the Oilers picking up 8 wins in their last 11 games. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Reid Wilkins for Reid's Read, brought to you by Ewell, your power play specialist. Ewell has the gear you need for your next electrical project with 3 Edmonton area locations, and you can order online anytime at ewell.ca. Ewell, your Edmonton-based partner in power and source for all things electrical. Reid Wilkins, good day, sir. Always great to sit with you in the press box. Always great to hear you in the scrums. That was a convincing win for the Edmonton Oilers. Are they back? I'm sorry for throwing that at you.
Oh, jeez. Well, the big guys are incredible. McDavid. This is a crazy thing. The Oilers scored 5 goals. Only 5 players had points.
Yeah.
McDavid had 5. Hyman had 3. Draisaitl had 3. Bouchard had 2. And Nugent-Hopkins had 1. So I think what Oilers fans have been enjoying in the month of December is one of the best runs of McDavid's career. This is probably a top 5 run for his career, how he's been playing this month. Every time of course he's always an exciting and productive player, but I feel he's at his highest level the last, what's the streak now? 30, is it 31 points in 11 games?
Yeah, this 11 game stretch has been sick.
And even the game they got shut out against Minnesota, it's not as if he was bad. He created a lot in that game, the last 2 periods. So McDavid and Draisaitl are really leading the way. Now they have both Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman in the lineup as well. So the power play is 3 for 6 tonight, so it's now above 1/3 for the season. It'll nose above 33.3%, which is what it was coming in. Too bad they got tagged with a 6-second power play at the end of the game. Otherwise, they would have been 3 for 5 tonight. So, the big guys are absolutely leading the way and just exploding for offense and putting pressure on other teams. Calgary couldn't handle them at all tonight. They couldn't keep up with them. They couldn't stop their passes, except for Dustin Wolf. They couldn't take away their shots. This was really an 8 or 9-1 game. And if it would have been that score, it would have been 2 or 3 more points each for McDavid and Draisaitl. Mm-hmm. Henrique had a scoring chance.
Yep.
That was probably the best non-top 4 player to get a scoring chance in this game. So the big guys are driving the bus. I agree with the texter that you read their text earlier that yes, eventually you're going to need some more production lower down in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, they're finally banking some points, and the big guys are absolutely exploding. I think it's important to point out tonight, guys. So the Oilers' record is now 19, 13, and 6. They've played 38 games and they've won 19. So they have won half their games. I mean, we talk a lot about 500 in points percentage. Now they are 500 in winning percentage, in just actually winning their games. And then if you look at the playoff cut line over the years, you can talk about points and all that kind of stuff, which is, of course, important. But usually, well, pretty much all the time, teams that make the playoffs have at least 41 wins. They have won at least half their games. And then it might come down to overtime shootout losses to round out some points to get you into the upper 80s or 90s that gets you into spots. So, winning at least half your games is a bare minimum to be a playoff team. And the Oilers have now reached that threshold, at least at this point of the season. So I think that's important. And then just for fun, I looked up, because in this day and age, this was quite a high penalty minute total for a game, because they gave because of Weegar getting 22 minutes on one play. Okay, first of all, that's like
bad call.
The Flames were that's a call. That's unsportsmanlike conduct.
No. I'm talking about the slash that initially led to the unsportsmanlike. That's why he was
That is a good call.
That was a soft call, Friedrich.
Why? Okay, let me ask you this. Why are you doing that if you're Mackenzie Weegar?
Because you can't keep up.
You're going to get a penalty. The ref's going to look and say you're being a jackass.
Well, the tapping, yes.
That's undisciplined.
I thought we were talking about the initial penalty.
To slash Nurse's stick out of his hands at 2 seconds after a whistle is a dumb play by Weegar. But like, if you want to argue that it's soft, I get it. The ref could have looked the other way or just given him 10 without giving him 2.
Or warned him.
But why tempt the referee to make a call?
Well, that's a great question. But he did. And you look at it, you go, because Darnell was barely hanging on to his stick. He was barely hanging on to it. I'm not even defending. I don't even want to defend him, but I'm just saying, like, that was... Like, you didn't have to call that.
But he didn't have to do it.
That's true.
But he didn't have to do it, right? Like, that's my argument, is instead of always blaming the referees, sometimes you have to look at the player and say the player knew he was doing something cheeky or that was crossing the line or unusual. Like, the ref might be looking at that and saying, like, dude, I haven't seen someone do that since I was reffing junior B. Like, you're acting like a junior B player. I'm going to give you a penalty. And I know you played, Tom, and you were an excellent player.
We did a lot of that.
I covered my fair share in the Northeastern League. Mm-hmm. And then he keeps mouthing off. So anyway, he gets 22 minutes right there. And then that would have been 90 minutes in misconducts at the they gave all 10 guys on the ice misconducts.
Yes, everybody.
I thought there was a minor out of that.
Nope. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yes,
Lomberg,
yes,
and then
Lomberg got one. Yeah.
I didn't realize he also gave Lomberg a misconduct. So anyway, just for fun, I looked up the Oilers' most penalty minutes in a game. 10 of the top 12 games in Oilers history in which they've received the most penalty minutes were against the Calgary Flames.
Shocking.
Yeah.
And they weren't all from the 80s. Most of them were. But there was one in 91, 92, which I guess was the tail end of the rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one in 94, 95. The most penalty minutes the Oilers have ever had in a game was 199, which was that one against the Kings in 89-90. They had one against the Penguins in 79-80. So by today's standard, this was a lot of penalty minutes, but it was partially because the ref was just throwing people out at the end for the sake of doing it.
Feelings hurt. That's what happened.
Feelings were hurt.
Feelings were hurt. All right, Reed, what do you make of Connor Ingram, and is it his next Saturday or this Saturday coming up?
Well, I think I'll say the same thing I've been saying for the last couple of days. He's only allowed 4 goals in 2 games, which is good. I mean, I think when a goaltender is playing a game like this, when his team is so dominant, it's his job not to lose the game as opposed to win it. And it's kind of the same thing with Vegas. He didn't let in a momentum swinging goal. He didn't let in a deflating goal or a goal, in which, the Oilers are dominating, and he gives them the chance to make it 4-1 and 5-1, as opposed to like, man, they're dominating and then one goes in and it's 3-2 and you're like, come on, like they shouldn't be up a goal. So good for him. I talked to someone in the media level tonight whose opinion I trust, who's seen a lot of hockey and a lot of goaltenders, who said to watch his rebound control, that could be a difference, that he might spill pucks a little more generously than some other goaltenders. So maybe that's something to watch going forward. But yeah, tonight, just don't let in a soft one. Like don't give one away, that's, and again, to go back to the first game of the season, like Skinner did when he held onto the puck and let Coleman tap it between his legs. It was an efficient game for Ingram. Yeah, I don't know about Saturday. Like I thought that Knobloch would probably come back with Pickard tonight. So he proved me wrong there. Now, I also think they don't want to let Pickard sit. I think they still see him as, the number 2 or 2B if Ingram's now 2A. I don't think they want to have him totally sort of lose his job and not get any ice time just because of the Christmas break, and then they go with another guy. But I mean, certainly we'll see Ingram maybe they split like 2 of the next 4 games. Right. But yeah, Ingram's done nothing to suggest that he doesn't deserve more playing time. I think the Oilers got to see what they have here. They've been forced into it because you and I talked a lot about his minor league stats, like atrocious.
Yes.
We're to the point where I was like, how do you justify calling him up?
Yep.
So they were forced to call him up, and after 2 games in, he's made the most of the opportunity. So now I think the Oilers have to say, okay, the NHL's different. He's handled it very well so far. I think they have to keep starting him. I'm not saying every game. I still think Pickard deserves a chance to play, but I think you got to keep going to Ingram fairly regularly to see if he can handle it in the NHL again.
Fair point. Benny, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, to me, I asked the question when Ingram first came up, is there a world that Ingram plays his way as the backup? And through 2 games, he hasn't let that theory die. And I think he's got a little bit of a resume now. Now, obviously, it's 2 games where it's a small sample size. But, like, Reed, do you think there's a chance at all that Pickard... Because I mentioned earlier that Ingram and Pickard are both not waiver exempt. Like, there's a chance that the Oilers could lose one of those goalies, depending on who they choose. Do you think that there's a chance that Ingram is the guy that eventually is the one that stays and they're willing to risk losing Pickard?
Yes. I think if the Oilers were to take a chance of losing a goaltender on waivers, it would more likely be Pickard at this point because of the age and because of the potential, perhaps.
Yeah. The ceiling.
Yeah.
Higher with Ingram, probably. I get it. It's Reed's Read, brought to you by eWell. You can text us 780-218-9999 as we continue on here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream post-game show. Edmonton 5, Calgary 1. They will do this again at the Saddle Dome on Saturday. We go to Duffman. Duffman says Uyghur gets the penalty there because 2 minutes later, they evened up what would have been an Oilers power play with the same type of play. Then after the 10, Uyghur did not get the message and keeps going. Merry Christmas, I suppose, from Duffman. And then Troll says, I agree with Reed. It's a low IQ play by Uyghur. Yeah, I'm not debating that. I'm just saying, like,
and
you
what
shouldn't
do we know about,
do that. But
and what do we know, though, about mouthing off?
Oh,
show up the ref.
Yeah, because
like if he serves his 2 or even his 10 and then skates over him during a TV timeout,
has
like
a
Rob
combo.
Brown always said, like pretend you're adjusting the tape on your stick and then smile.
Hide
it. Smiling and say, what was the ref's name again? I didn't remember which one called it. They say Benny's the ref. And I'm like, hey, Benny, you gave me 10 there. I can't believe how stupid you are.
Cody
when you first came up into the league, Benny, I thought you were going to be a good ref. And clearly your head is actually firmly lodged between your buttocks. If you're not making eye contact with him and not doing anything demonstrative, you can almost say whatever you want. So for him to do it from the penalty box, while the ref's mic was on, I don't know if anything.
Well, you could kind of hear the ref. The mic was on, right? You kind of hear. You're like, oh,
didn't he say like that's enough or something? That's enough. You're gone or something like that. So
It was
see a guys don't get thrown out very often for yapping off. The last Oilers game I can remember somebody getting tossed for yapping was Woody about 5 games before he got fired in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Remember they were losing 6-1. It wasn't the game they lost 8-1. They went back to Vancouver shortly after that and lost 6-1 or 6-2. And the ref was skating by the bench. And all of a sudden, he's like tosses Woodcroft.
Get out of here.
I'm probably forgetting an instance or something like that. But actually getting, like thrown out like you see a baseball manager player happen for yapping off. It doesn't really happen that often in hockey.
No, it doesn't. Gord Dwyer and Cody Beach were your officials tonight.
Okay.
Right. It was Cody Beach. That was the one that was.
Yeah. Well, Reed's a big Cody Beach guy. I'm more of a Gord Dwyer guy. I'm kidding. I hate them all equally.
When I play the NHL video games, I just play as the refs, actually. I just do the ref sim.
Oh, God. Well, I'm not surprised. Okay, Reed, give us a peek ahead to Saturday. I mean, this 3-day break is going to be nice. Did you see Sam Gagner up top today? He's in town visiting Rachel's family, his wife Rachel.
I did. When I was leaving, I was walking by and I was like, "That looks like Sam Gagner," but he was, I needed to get downstairs, so I didn't bother him. But,
I had a good chat with him.
Yeah, good to see him. Yeah. Popular Oiler, obviously. Yeah, a lot of ties to Edmonton.
Great guy.
Beyond just having played for the Oilers thrice, I believe, over the course of his career.
Yep.
I mean, Saturday, I think Knobloch has to go to the whip, doesn't he? I mean, run out the top 6 as much as you can in the first 10 minutes and dare Calgary to slow them down.
Yeah.
They couldn't tonight.
Even with a stellar goaltending performance, the Oilers scored 5. So, I would say put the foot down and try to be up, 3-0, 10 minutes into the game. If you can, because Calgary offered very little resistance tonight. Now, I'm sure they're embarrassed. Derek Van Diest was working in the visitors' dressing room, and he was not there very long because he made it to the Oilers' room and was like, a lot of four-word answers from the guys tonight. So, I mean, Calgary will probably be better, but being more determined and more conscientious doesn't make you faster to try to stop McDavid when he's racing in. So hopefully the Oilers have some killer instinct. They're probably going to have to be ready for some shenanigans from Lomberg or Ball or whoever is going to try to do that type of stuff.
Klapka, he's a giant.
Yeah. But I think the Oilers should be encouraged by this performance, and hopefully, what's the one thing with this team? They don't like success. This year, they have not won 3 games in a row. One of the deepest time stretches they've ever gone into a season without a 3-game winning streak. Yes. So hopefully they're not complacent. Hopefully they're like, let's crush these guys. Like, let's put them in last place in the Western Conference. Like, let's go out there and beat up on them a bit.
We'll see if that happens. But in the meantime, we have Christmas. Rick, Merry Christmas to you, your mom and your dad and your family. Great work as always, my friend. I look forward to seeing you maybe Saturday.
All right. Merry Christmas, Tom and Ben. Merry Christmas to all our listeners. We love you. Take care.
There you go. There's Reid Wilkins, host of the Reid Wilkins Show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, 3 to 6, Monday to Friday. Great program, great people. And he gets Jay Milne alongside Ice Cube, Zachary Kubish. Reid's Reid, brought to you by Ewell, your power play specialist. Ewell has the gear you need for your next electrical project with 3 Edmonton area locations. Your Edmonton-based partner in power and source for all things electrical. Ewell. All right, Benny, it's time for the Damon Bunting Real Estate Player of the Game. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 18 years. He and his team would love to make and help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate.
I have a rule with Player of the Game about how
I don't mind this rule.
About how I can't go to anyone on 3 stars. Tonight's the night I'm breaking it. Because I have to reward this player. It is, in my opinion, his best streak as in his career. Connor McDavid, 5-point night, continuing his 11-game ridiculous point total that he's gathered. Again, another night where it's just like he does whatever he wants, whenever he wants. He's flying all over the place, makes every guy on the ice better. It's so hard not to give it to him. And I was waiting for him to cool off, so maybe I can give it to him on a night where he wasn't as great and doesn't make the 3 stars. But I simply can't do it. I can't do it anymore. It's Christmas is coming, and he's playing this good. I got to reward him. So he's gonna get player of the game, David Bunting. Side note, Rasmus Anderson slash on him. How is that not a penalty shot?
That he had 2. Did you see that 2 whacks?
Yes.
We thought for sure they were going to call a penalty shot.
How is that not a penalty shot? He had him beat. Like, he was gone.
We thought that Reed and I and Belsey thought that should have been a penalty shot. 100%.
I don't understand how that isn't. Like, I feel like the refs have a bias towards not giving that those penalty shots. Give it to him. He beat Rasmus Anderson. He was 1-on-1 with the goalie, and Anderson takes 2 hard whacks right at his wrist. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's not a penalty shot. But, yeah, he's Connor McDavid, David Bunting, player of the game.
I've said what I have to say about the officials tonight, and I will leave it at that. Well done, Benny. That is the Damon Bunting Real Estate Player of the Game. All right, we got a couple texts, and we're going to wind things down here. Taco texts in. Taco says, the world is a better place when the Oilers beat the Flames, especially when the Oils step on the gas offensively and the Flames have to resort to dirty knee-on-knee plays. Taco with that text. And then we're going to go, Nolan from St. Albert slid one in late. At this point, you cannot convince me that McDavid is a human being. Pretty sure he's an alien. Oh, did you see the Steven Spielberg movie, the trailer? I think it's called Disclosure Day.
No.
That looks wild, man. That looks wild. Good text, Nolan. Thank you. And then we're going to end it with Atif. Oh, Wheels, you basically wrote a novella. I'll try to read as much of it. Was he?
He was at the game. Took a picture of Trent.
Just cruising around. Yeah. I hope you guys had a beverage together. Atif says, what a game to head into the break with. Draisaitl with the hat trick. McDavid dropping 5 assists. Truly was a Christmas miracle for Oil Country. Here's a poem celebrating the 5-1 win and the team at Edmonton Sports Talk. Dude, you even threw emojis in here and all these like pound signs. What the hell is going on? I'm going to get through this. This will be the end of the show. A Battle of Alberta Christmas gift. 'Twas 2 days before Christmas, and all through the town the Flames had arrived, but they left with a frown. The scoreboard at Rogers was a sight to behold as the Oilers played hockey, both dominant and bold. With a 5-1 thumping, the rivalry burned, but the joy of the victory was rightfully earned. Draisaitl netted 3, a holiday hattie, while McDavid's 5 helpers made Calgary batty. Now the mics are turned off and the headsets are down as the best sports reporters head out of the town. To the nasty and great staff at EST who bring us the news with such passion and glee, from Nielsen and Salas to Gage and the crew, for the hours of hangouts and all that you do, take a seat, grab a slice, make it royal, of course, and enjoy a well-earned and festive resource. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good rest in the city of Edmonton, truly the best. Tommy working late nights with Benny. Thank you so much. Signed, Atif. That was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
Very well done.
Thank you, ChatGPT, on that one. That was. I'm kidding.
Of course.
I'm kidding. That was awesome. Atif. Wow.
We'll give that one to Atif. Good job, buddy. Appreciate that. Twitter Mary slides one in late. Hello, Twitter Mary says, fun game to watch. Even more fun is all the back and forth of personalities and, dare I say, friends at EST over the whole year. Lots of love and well wishes to all. And to all a good night, Twitter Mary and the family. Very well said. Big thank you to everybody. You guys are the best. We appreciate you. We can't do this without you. We hope all of you have a wonderful Christmas and be safe, have fun, be merry, enjoy your time with friends and family. From all of us here at EST, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. We'll see you on Saturday.